It's December 9th, 2021. Raid Crew just discovered Punchboosting, a method to go down slopes that's ridiculously fast. Over the following weeks, the community discovers more and more use cases that evolve it into Punchboosting 2.0, and not even 2 months later, Respawn pulls the plug and removes it from the game. The movement community has been yearning for it ever since. I don't think there's a better way to cope with that than to come up with a fan-made Punchboost legend, have an incredible artist do concept work for it, and commission a programmer to develop it into a functioning legend in modded Apex. So that's exactly what I did. May I present to you Para. Back in the days, she was also a gauntlet runner, the same as Octane. She never really made it into the top ranks on the leaderboard, but later heard of Octane's story and how he made it into the Apex games. This made her a big fan of the game, since she always had an obsession with speed, and the early legends in the game and their abilities really fascinated her. However, she became more and more frustrated with defensive characters joining the games, and after the referees banned a new movement tech that was discovered, she was fed up and decided to start developing a legend kit around bringing back punch boosting into the games and messing with defensive legends. After a couple of rounds of qualifying matches, she joined the Apex games and is now speeding across the Outlands alongside Octane. You could speed across the battlefield with today's sponsor, War Thunder. If you have dreamed of a game where you can participate on a battlefield on land, in the air or by sea and have over 2,000 vehicles to choose from, then today's sponsor War Thunder is the game for you. The developers could have stopped there, but then they went the extra mile, modeling each vehicle down to its individual components, offering a highly immersive combat experience. Last time I talked about War Thunder, I already mentioned the brilliant damage X-ray model and how it spans from the 1920s all the way to the present day. And this all might have sounded a bit intimidating, but War Thunder is way easier to get into than you might think. You don't need any special hardware like a joystick to fly the aircraft. You can just use your mouse and keyboard or gamepad. And you can choose how deep the immersion should go. Do you want to play a more casual action-packed match or a more realistic and tactical experience? Whatever suits you, it's in there. And you can get all of that for free on PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series S and X as well. And if you register using my link in the description or pinned comment, you get some extra goodies like vehicles, premium features and boosters. So check out War Thunder today. All of Para's abilities focus around her power gauntlets. And here I want to shout out Pune, who I worked with over the last month to come up with the look of Para and how her gauntlets look and work. Go follow her on Twitter, she's an absolutely amazing artist. And the working version of Para is fully built in modded Apex, R5Reloaded, which is a completely separate build. Nothing of this has ever touched or will ever touch the official live version of Apex. Let's start talking about Para's passive, which is punch boosting. This lets you melee terrain and objects to be sent backwards off them. Down slopes, this is especially useful, letting you build just ridiculous speed. And it's not just a very monotonous task, cause sliding for too long will slow you down again. And if you hit the ground from too high up, you will also slow down or even come to a complete stop. So for the optimal speed gain, you need to time your punches correctly. And you get more value out of them if you flick back and forth, so you know what obstacles are ahead of you, so you can combine punch boosting with air strafes to maneuver around the obstacles. But where the skill expression becomes way greater is when using them off objects, inside confined spaces or in combination with other momentum. Because they can be used to extend slide jumps and cross gaps, be used in combination with wall bounces in very interesting ways, alongside walls and upstairs, or even to convert fall momentum. And all other speed, like of gravity cannons, can be extended and redirected with punch boosts. Off the jump head, even while keeping your double jump. You can even punch boost off other legend abilities. Just in this passive alone is a lot of skill expression. A good Para that has put hours into practice will be way different to one that just started out. If this seems too strong for a passive, I remind you that Valkyrie exists, and that Seer has just constant wall hacks as a passive. You could also use balancing tools like capping the speed, after which you won't gain any more momentum of a punch boost, or give you charges like 2 to 5 to make it more of a resource instead of something you can always spam. Her tactical, the gauntlets, can be used in two ways. A shockwave created by punching walls or the ground that destroys placeable abilities around you, and what's essentially a charged up punch boost that can send you over little obstacles or entire buildings depending on how much you charge it. In my mind, these would be controlled by click to activate or hold to activate. And there's precedent for this. Both Vantage and Crypto have different tactical behaviors depending on whether you hold or click the tactical button. You could click the subscribe button if you enjoy movement videos like this. Clicking your tactical button as para goes through an activation animation, sliding out the knuckle covers, letting you know you are now in shockwave mode and your gauntlets are ready for action. This also activates an indicator showing you what walls are in range. Attacking will now pull you towards the indicator, striking the ground or wall, and send a shockwave around you, destroying all placeable structures with ground contact. Of course, things like catalyst walls, Watson fences and rampart walls come to mind, destroying them to have an easier time taking a position or building. But this also includes things like Revenant's Totem or Loba's Ultimate, which Pune illustrated beautifully here. Other abilities stay completely unaffected. Bloodhound Scans, Crypto's Drone, Smokes, Ash and Wraith Ultimate or Horizon and Seers abilities, and on and on. Players will also stay completely unaffected. There is no stun effect like on Crypto's EMP. It's strictly targeted at fixed structures, and mostly the support and controller class. I have some further balancing ideas, but we'll get to those in the ultimate. The second tactical option would be to hold your tactical. This lifts the second fist, letting you know you are in pushback mode. And letting go of it will punch the ground under you, lifting you into the air. It's essentially rocket jumping from Quake or Team Fortress, just packaged into a punch ability. Making it a hold behavior that you can charge up would also differentiate it from abilities like the grapple or echo on Vantage. If you want a quick panic use, you won't get the same range that you can get out of a grapple or echo. But the longer you hold it, the more pushback force you charge up, and if you want full power, you have to charge it up for 4 seconds. Because you have to punch the ground or at least some object under you, you also cannot use it while mid-air, which both the grapple and echo allow you to do. Where it becomes really interesting again is of course the ability to use it in combination with punch boosts. This lets you first gain momentum with your tactical and then extend that momentum with punch boosts. The amount of combinations and skill expression possible with this makes me already miss it in the actual game. I have been wanting another legend that has a skill expression in their movement mechanic that is as deep as the one in Pathfinder's Grapple. And I feel combining Para's tactical and passive gets us to something similar, where 1 hour versus 10, 100 or 1000 hours of playtime still make a difference. For balancing, there are some huge dials you can turn. The biggest would be to either give you one charge of each that charge independently, or just one single tactical charge. The first would allow you to punch into the air and then slam down with a shockwave. Or shockwave an area and then reposition, be it back to your team or onto a different angle to keep up the pressure of the attack now that the defenses are down. With only one overall charge, you have to decide for each tactical activation whether you need the reposition ability or the mess with defensive strongholds ability, which would probably be more balanced. For this concept, I just let you have both cause it's way more fun. And then there are of course the usual smaller balancing dials. For shockwave, how big is the area of destruction? How far is the range where you get pulled towards the indicator? Can you hit ceilings or not? Is it a sphere around you or a column that penetrates multiple floors? How long is the activation time, and is there a warning for the enemy team beforehand? And for the pushback, it's the same, but mainly how big the minimum and maximum push forces are. A further balancing tool would be to only give her the pushback as tactical and implement the shockwave part into her ultimate. For this concept, the ultimate would be to pull the power core out of one of her gauntlets and throw it, creating an area of denial in which no placeable ability can be placed anymore. Where the tactical shockwave only destroys structures with ground contact, the ultimate prevents any future placeable ability. This would now include things like Horizons and Seers Ultimate, Bangalore Smokes and Caustic Ultimates, Wraith Portals and Crypto's Drone, and on and on. It's however not a Watson pylon that will shoot them out of the air and waste the ability. It's essentially combining a locally contained Revenant Silence for placeable abilities and parts of DB's bubble to prevent abilities from going to the inside. But this also means abilities that are not placed down, so things like DB's Arm Shield, Stimming, Bloodhound Scans and Valkyrie's Ultimate all still work within it. I would imagine that this is especially strong in end circles, but it has so many more uses. You see a Wraith portaling for a building next to you, deny her the ability to finish her portal inside of it. Getting Bangalore ulted, place the area of denial to prevent rockets from landing on you. You still aren't safe from getting shot at like in a Gibby bubble, but at least you won't get stunned and damaged from the rockets. Fighting a Rampart team and need to prevent them from setting up a certain power position? Area of denial it is. And these are just some examples. There are way more tactical possibilities with this ultimate. I would like to separate the destruction of certain existing abilities and the much broader prevention of future ones into two separate abilities. In this case, the tactical shockwave and the ultimate sphere of denial. Just cause I think it makes for more interesting gameplay. And together with other balancing dials like what is and what is not considered a placeable ability, I think this could work without being too overpowered, while still fulfilling the goal of locally preventing ability spam. But I get that during development and rebalancing, things get reapplied and moved around. You could apply your thumb onto the download link of today's sponsor, War Thunder, and get the ultimate vehicle combat game today, with my link in the description and pinned comment, and enjoy the over 2000 vehicles for free on PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox One and Series S and X. I think with a kit like I suggested, Para delivers the power fantasy of zipping around the map, ruining the day for defensive legends, and preventing ability spam. Let me know what you think of this legend concept, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!